What fact are you tired of explaining to people? That when you earn more money, that puts you into a higher tax bracket. Only the amount above that bracket gets taxed at the higher rate, not your entire income. Yep, you got a raise, you will not take home less money. Your paycheck may not look significantly larger, but $10, $0. I dealt with this when I was a paramedic. We worked 24-hour shifts and were constantly offered overtime, but people would refuse to take two in a pay period because they said their check would be less than if they had just taken one, because it put them in a different tax bracket. Yes, the second shift may not bump the check to the same degree as the first, but you're not freaking making less money. Regardless, it all comes out in the wash when you file. It was even more infuriating because these were people who filed zero, no dependents, no personal exemption, so they could get a bigger refund. Yeah, it's totally cool to give the government an interest-free loan by filing no exemptions, but God forbid you have to wait a couple more months to get that extra $15 you got knocked off for a few bucks seeping into a higher tax bracket temporarily. That antibiotics treat bacterial infections, not viral ones. No, antibiotics won't help your cold. This drives me crazy. Every time I get a cold, someone tells me to go to a doctor and get a prescription for antibiotics, as if it is some magical panacea. What's worse is when your employer tells you to go to the doctor if you are taking the day off. Bish, I have a cold. The doctor can't do crap. I'm not gonna get everyone sick, and I'm not going to the doctor. That you can't specifically lose belly fat by doing sit-ups. Yes, the sit-ups will strengthen and tone your abs, but the definition won't show through the fat, and you'll still have a belly. Six packs are made in the gym, but revealed by the kitchen. No, 6 packs are bought at the grocery. You shouldn't fully drain batteries to make them last longer. That was old info that only applied to nickel and not modern lithium batteries on him. My husband still believes this. It drives me insane. He freaks out when I plug in his phone that is at 4% battery when we are going to sleep, and he needs the alarm for the morning because I'm going to wreck the battery because it isn't dead yet. Ugh, 10 years I have been trying to convince that it is all hogwash, but he doesn't believe me. All of my phone batteries have been fine, and I plug them in whenever and for however long is convenient for me. Rant. Does your husband not know about the internet yet? Climate change / global warming is not about saving planet, it's actually about saving humanity. Our planet will be fine. Not just humanity. Many plants and animals will get dragged down with us. Obviously the world will keep spinning, but wiping out most living things could technically be called killing the planet. Mass extinctions are generally followed by a flourishing of many new fauna. That losing weight really is just calories in vs calories out. No fad diets or gimmicks are going to work in the long run. But surely if I don't eat after 6 PM I'll lose weight. Eats 12 slices of cake at 5 PM. See, but usually this gimmick is a method of people cutting out useless calories. When someone goes in for a 9 PM snack, they are just adding extra calories that by not eating after a certain time should cut out, thus helping you get towards losing weight. For Americans, innocent until proven guilty. That's one of the worst parts of my job. I constantly get asked how I feel about defending guilty people, or that I'm a monster for doing so. Just so everyone understands, they are not guilty till 12 of their peers say they are. It's so frustrating when I have a more public case and everyone, the news, my friends, my family, say that somebody totally did it, and guess what? The evidence is poor, the witnesses are contradictory, my client's alibi is solid, and he gets off because even the jury realized that the guy didn't do it. Then the news comes on and suddenly I'm the asshole for doing my job correctly. Thank you for putting up with that crap. We'd be in a real hellhole if you didn't. Knowledge does not equal intelligence. Just because somebody was never taught how to do something or how something works doesn't mean they're an idiot. Hell, they could even be much smarter than you. This irritates me so much when people rag on younger generations. You don't know who Kurt Cobain is? Moron. Yeah, might be because he died before they were born, and it's not like MTV plays music anymore. How the hell would they just know? They weren't alive when we were. Okay, rant over. There are levels to it though. If someone didn't know who Hitler or Einstein were, I'd be pretty disappointed. Even if it was just an incredibly vague description, I'd be happy enough. I wouldn't drag on them, but for someone with an ordinary upbringing, they would have to be deliberately avoiding learning anything at all to not know who those people were. I have depression. I'm sad all the time. I know I have a great life. Telling me I shouldn't be so sad with my awesome life makes me feel worse. No, trying to cheer myself up doesn't work. No, this is not just a phase. Depression isn't like emo. I don't wear eyeliner or tight jeans. I did like My Chemical Romance, but that's besides the point. Yes, I have tried changing my diet, exercise. Never heard of that word. You are literally the first person to suggest it to me. It doesn't work. Yes, I have tried running. I know it helps you get the anger out. I'm not angry. Good luck, Opus. I'd just like to point out to other editors that you can have depression without being sad all the time. After being clinically depressed, feeling genuinely sad about something real can almost feel good and visceral in a way, but it definitely affects everyone differently. Ibuprofen and Motrin are the same thing. Why the hell will no one believe that? They always insist on looking it up, and Google never fails me, so they just kinda glare at me. Those are the same people that turn their nose up at acetaminophen, but will gladly take Tylenol. PSH, they should be taking paracetamol instead. Former police officer here. I don't know why the officer/deputy/trooper in another state stopped your best friend's sister for like no reason. Are there asshole cops? Yeah. There's asshole, insert title here, in every profession. Let me repeat, every profession. He pulled me over for no reason. Yeah, okay, Jennifer. Couldn't be that you were driving like a wasted monkey. Nope. The name Jennifer is the female equivalent of Jeff. US specific. 1. You are not getting money from the government when you get a tax refund. You are getting your own money that you just lent to the government at 0% interest. 2. Freedom of speech does not mean that you can say whatever you want and not face consequences. People who call you out on your bullcrap are not violating your First Amendment rights. As opposed to the 0.1% interest my high interest savings account is currently offering. The people who go on about how anyone who purposely sets themselves up to get a refund is a fool are just as annoying as the people who don't know how refunds work. I'd rather lose $10 worth of interest over the course of the year and be positive that I'm getting a refund than cut my withholdings as close as I can and worry that I'll get an unpleasant surprise if I screwed up. I'm not a house husband because I'm lazy and don't want to work. I chose to stay home and support my wife while she brings in the bread. I've accepted this, and you should look past societal stereotypes and stop with the condescension. Same in my household. My chosen career pays more than his. I enjoy interacting with people. He doesn't. My job pays enough for us to both have the necessary things in life, so why not let him pursue his passion? It'd be different if we struggled financially or depended on others for money. I'd much rather work all day and come home to a clean house and a man who's happy for my company than for both of us to be overworked and stressed out. Just because someone is black, it doesn't automatically mean they're African American. I live in Australia and this whole freaking debacle infuriates me. We had a girl in my high school who had a Kenyan mother and an Aussie father. I once described her as half black, and all my friends lost their collective crap. You can't say that. Don't use the word black. She's African American. You stupid idiot. She's Aussie African if anything. Quit with your freaking labels. What the hell? I really only though that was in America. How does that even make sense? That they should spay and neuter their pets. That a no-kill shelter will still euthanize extremely ill or extremely aggressive animals. That the $700 dog they just adopted from a puppy mill is probably no more purebred or healthy than a rescue or shelter animal, and that they should stop supporting people who bring more animals into the world, which results in animal overpopulation and higher euthanasia rates. God, I love working in animal welfare. I'm glad no-kill shelters euthanize extremely ill animals. That's the humane thing to do. Bipolar disorder is deeper than being mad 5 minutes ago and now being perfectly fine. Sure, some people do rapid cycle, but it just isn't that simple. And the weather cannot have bipolar disorder. And bipolar disorder is not the same thing as PMS. Those symptoms can get worse while menstruating. They are completely unrelated. Also, OCD can be obsessive intrusive thoughts. Not everyone with OCD is totes obsessed rowly with cleaning. You can have OCD and be a slob. It is about obsessive behavior that interferes with your life. Mental disorders are not cute and quirky. They are literally the worst. I can't stand it when people make it all cutesy about how they're just bipolar right now and talk about hurting people because they're bipolar. I just want to scream at them. That's not how any of that works, and it's not cute. For the last goddamn time. I'm Australian, which means I don't care about what your constitution says. If I use the phrase free speech, I'm talking about the ideal, not whatever bullcrap legal protection you Yanks get. I don't want to hear about how it only applies to the government, or how it doesn't apply to hate speech, or any other legal malarkey. The admin/payo/Victoria/FPH controversy was really annoying for me. Okay. Actually, Australia does have free speech law. It's not in our constitution, but it exists. But he's not referring to that when he is talking about free speech. When he talks about free speech, it should be interpreted as ideology, not as law. There is a difference between a hotel and a motel. Hotels have internal doors to guest rooms, and motels have external doors to rooms. Just because a hotel is lower quality does not somehow make it a motel. That's not really true though. Motel is the short form of motor hotel, and motels are for people traveling by car who need to rest at the side of a highway or other road. Their business model is one night stays for people passing by on a longer trip. Hotels have a different business model. That is the main difference between hotel and motel. Motels can also look like any hotel, have internal doors or whatnot. But it's rarely the case, because they are cheap places that offer only what's necessary for a one-night stay, and often have external doors to the parking lot, to make it easier to get to your room, and to your car, if you don't have much time. There are countless hotels I've been to that have external doors, and I've seen motels with internal doors. That a cheap hotel doesn't become a motel is true though. Having a solid foundation on which to build your life makes it much easier to get ahead. If your parents were able to help you pay for college, if they got you your first car, if they helped you financially in really any way, you're lucky and already miles ahead of a lot of people. If, on the other hand, you've had to help pay rent and bills since you were old enough to get an under-the-table job, if you're 30 years old and still loaning your mom money, if you bought a $1,500 car on Craigslist after saving up for almost a year, if you've been on your own, working your way through college, paying rent and bills and tuition with the help of crippling debt, you are not a loser. It's just really hard to not be poor if you've been poor your whole life. It's hard to make it in this world without help from the people who brought you into it. Don't feel like a failure for not being able to afford your own home. You're a goddamn success if you're gainfully employed and not living on the streets. Go you.